I've been following EthrA for almost 2 years now because of its unique combination of 2D pixel art characters and detailed immersive environments. I was recently given the opportunity to playtest an early build, and after spending some time testing its combat, weapons, resource gathering, and open world, I started to understand what could make this game special. But does the game actually feel as good as it looks? Before we get into the gameplay, I just want to make a couple of things clear. EthrA is still under development with no confirmed release date, so everything you see in this video could be subject to change before the game officially releases. I am also in no way sponsored by Stone Lab, or am I getting paid to make this video. I was given a free key to try the playtest, and since I was lucky enough to get that access, I want to use this opportunity to share gameplay, information, and helpful resources with everyone else who is interested in the game. Before launching the game, Steam lets you know that EthrA is best enjoyed with a controller. I normally play using mouse and keyboard, so I decided to start with that because that is what I'm most comfortable with. One thing that I did notice almost immediately is that the menus currently don't support mouse navigation. You can still move through the menu using arrow keys and a spacebar, but unless you're already comfortable with that, a controller will probably feel much more natural while playing the game. Once I entered the world, my first impression was still the same reason I began following EthrA in the first place. The visual identity is incredibly strong. The characters use this retro 2D pixel art style, while the environments are much more detailed and three-dimensional. You have rolling landscapes, trees, buildings, lighting effects, and distant scenery surrounding these smaller pixelated characters. It sounds like the two styles would conflict with one another, but they actually work really well together. General movement feels smooth and the world is enjoyable to move through. The camera took a little longer to get used to. In open areas it usually works well enough, but in tighter spaces or close to walls it can sometimes feel a little bit awkward. I also wish I had more freedom to look upward and fully take in the sky and scenery. However, some of that may be connected to using a mouse and keyboard, so I don't want to judge it too harshly until I've properly tested the game on a controller. But even with those issues, the atmosphere made me want to keep exploring. The music also adds a lot to that atmosphere. It's calm, immersive, and fits the environment without becoming too distracting. There were several moments when I slowed down or stopped moving just to listen and take a look around. The soundtrack gives exploration a peaceful feeling, which makes the shift into combat feel even more noticeable. Combat is where EthrA becomes much more active. Bob focuses mainly on physical attacks, while Vale handles the magic and support. You can block, dodge, roll, lock onto enemies, and use both characters together during a fight. It did take me a little while to understand everything, especially on mouse and keyboard, but once the mechanics started clicking, the combat became very engaging. The most interesting part of combat is how Bob and Vale work together. Vale doesn't simply follow behind Bob and occasionally cast a spell. You can use orders and magic to control how she contributes to a fight. For example, Vale can attack an enemy from the front while Bob moves around to attack from behind. You can also reverse that situation, using Bob to hold an enemy's attention, while Vale attacks from a much safer position. This becomes especially useful when fighting groups. One character can distract part of the group while the other attacks from another angle. That gives combat a much more strategic feeling than simply controlling one fighter and repeatedly attacking whatever is closest. The lock-on system helps you stay focused on a target while repositioning around it. You still need to pay attention to your surroundings, especially against groups, but it makes individual fights easier to read. Blocking and dodging both have their place. Blocking lets you stay closer to an enemy and hold your position, while dodging or rolling helps you create space or avoid stronger attacks. These actions use stamina, so you can attack endlessly and still expect to have enough stamina left to escape. You need to decide when to attack and when to save energy for defense. Now parrying. Parrying was probably one of the most satisfying parts of the system. The timing feels fairly tight and it took me several attempts to land consistently, but once you get it right, the follow-up attack feels very powerful and impactful. The impact, animation, and sound makes it feel like you genuinely interrupted the enemy rather than just simply pressing another defensive button. It's definitely a mechanic that rewards practice. Your stats also connect directly to how both characters perform. Strength improves Bob's physical attack and defense, and affects the power of his sword attacks, while intelligence improves magical attack and defense, and affects the strength of Vale's spells. Constitution increases health and physical defense, making you more durable. Mind increases mana, and further improves Vale's overall magical effectiveness. Endurance may be one of the most important stats because it affects stamina. and stamina is used for attacking, sprinting, dodging, and rolling, but it also matters outside of combat during resource gathering. Weapon choice also changes the pace of the combat. The greatsword is slower and more calculated, and you need to choose your openings carefully because every swing takes commitment, while the regular sword is much faster and works better for a more aggressive playstyle. You can attack quickly, recover faster, and maintain pressure on enemies. I like that these weapons didn't feel like simple stat changes. They actually encouraged me to approach combat differently. One of my favorite things about the playtest was that exploration actually felt rewarded. I'm the type of player who usually ignores the obvious path to see what might be hidden nearby, and EthrA gave me reasons to do that. I found chests placed in different corners, behind structures and along routes that were easy to miss if you only followed the main objective. That made me want to inspect the environment instead of treating it as scenery between quests. Finding something useful in an unexpected place makes the world feel much more intentional. Exploration also connects directly to resource gathering. You can collect berries, plants, mine ore, cut trees, and pick up miscellaneous materials throughout the world. Enemies also drop resources after combat, so gathering happens through both exploration and fighting. Your stamina affects how often you can swing your gathering tool, which means endurance could also affect how efficiently you collect resources. These materials may then be sold to merchants for gold or used in other progression systems. Gold can help you purchase things such as potions, equipment, and other useful items, so gathering isn't simply an extra activity, it can directly support the way you progress through the game. My main concern with the current build is the camera. It could take some time to get used to and it becomes more noticeable in close quarter environments. When walls or objects are close to the characters, the camera can sometimes move into an awkward position and make it difficult to see the fight clearly. I would also like more control over the vertical camera so I can look upward and appreciate more of the environment. The lack of mouse support in the menus was also inconvenient as a mouse and keyboard player, but again, this is still an early build and I also need to test the game with a controller as it is recommended before the final judgment on the controls. EthrA is still under development and there currently isn't a confirmed release date. Anyone interested in trying the game early can join the official Discord and watch for future playtest opportunities. However, joining does not guarantee access, but it gives you a chance to follow development and see when Stone Lab is looking for more testers. I'll leave the official Discord and other useful links in the description. After following EthrA for nearly 2 years, I'm really happy I finally had the opportunity to play it. The art style and atmosphere are still the biggest reasons the game stands out to me, but the combat also made a strong first impression. Controlling Bob and Vale together adds strategy, parrying and counterattacks feel satisfying, and physical and magical immunities force you to use both characters. The world also rewards curiosity through hidden chests, resources, puzzles, and different gathering activities. There are still some rough areas, particularly with the camera and mouse controls, but underneath the visual style, there already seems to be a promising action RPG with engaging combat and a world that encourages exploration. Based on what I played, I'm definitely interested in seeing how EthrA continues to develop. I'm excited to keep exploring EthrA and see how the game continues to grow. There's still a lot more I want to discover, and I'm looking forward to sharing more of that journey in future videos. Thanks for watching.